Hello and welcome back to the EFL Extra Time podcast. I'm your host, Luke Wallace, and alongside me are Jack Cross.
Hello, mate.
And Ollie Johnson.
Hey, mate.
Jack, time to go on to your area of expertise then, League One. Looking through the games, there's an 8-goal draw at Loftus Road between Wimbledon and Plymouth. Blackpool picked up a win for Neil Critchley. Ipswich moved top of the league with a win against Bristol Rovers, who look to be struggling. A bump back down to earth for Accrington after an impressive win. Charlton lost at home in front of their fans, and Hull picked up 3 points again to move into the top 3. Lincoln won at MK Dons. Oxford are bottom of the league, which pains me to say. Posh picked up a win over Fleetwood. Shrewsbury lost again. Wigan scored 2 at home, but still couldn't pick up 3 points, and there was a goalless draw on Sunday. So let's start at Loftus Road then. 8 goals, a 4-4 draw between Wimbledon and Plymouth. I mean, it's like neither defence opted to turn up.
Yeah, it's like neither side wanted to win, really. I mean, we've seen me and Ollie had a game like that last year with Hull and Swansea, but yeah, interesting starts to the season. Obviously, Plymouth the better starts with a win and a draw. I think to Wimbledon, obviously two draws at the start of the season. I think to score 4 at home, no matter who you're against, to not come away with 3 points is really disappointing, and I think they should be disappointed with that.
Yeah, I mean, from Wimbledon to come from behind twice to then lead 4-2 to then concede twice in a minute, will they be frustrated not to come away with 3 points in this game?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, to score 4, you'll be at home. You're always going to be disappointed to not win the game, but I think the concentration went at 4-2. I mean, to concede 2 in the space of a minute or so, then there's not a lot you can really say about that. Obviously, they've just lost focus. I think the game's won already, and obviously in our league, any league, especially these lower English leagues, a game's never done, and anyone can beat anyone. And Plymouth managed to come back and get a point on the road.
Yeah, I mean, will they both be disappointed, really? Because these teams are going to be close to each other come the end of the season, so it was almost a 6-pointer in a way, wasn't it?
Yeah, and the fact that the game was so close, the scoreline obviously, but the stats were similar. Plymouth just edging it on possession, really. But yeah, that shows how similar the sides are going to be, I think, this season, and how close they're going to end up at the end of the season.
Yeah, 43 shots in total, 8 goals. Will be interested to see if either of these teams keeps a clean sheet next time out. Let's move on to Bloomfield Road then. Blackpool 2, Swindon 0. But Swindon came into this top of the league. Will they be disappointed not to build from that good start?
Yeah, I know. I think I mentioned this, with them not being able to keep hold of this star striker last year, Owen Doyle. So I thought they might do, because they're going to struggle for goals, but 2-0 away to Blackpool, who have, I thought, potentially still got potential to go to the Championship. Maybe not, but Hamilton getting a brace definitely put them in good stead.
Yeah, I mean, we said last week that Neil Critchley hadn't really hit the ground running at Blackpool at this point at the end of the season. Does this almost show that they might have turned a corner and they've just shown that we have no idea what we're talking about?
Yeah, it's that sort of result they need just to get the ball rolling. Another couple of results definitely put them in good stead. But I don't know, to be honest with you. I think it's just more of a fact that, when so I keep going on about Jay Spear, and I thought, just a play like that could have controlled the team a bit better, and losing him might have, had an effect. But if they can play like this without him, then they should be okay.
Yeah, I mean, we said going into the first set of games that we thought Swindon would struggle for goals, and they scored 3. But this is a bump back down to earth, and without Owen Doyle, does it show the real weaknesses they have in their squad?
I think it shows some, but like you said, when they scored 3 last time out, they can prove they can score goals without him. Which is obviously deeper things that they need to get better.
I asked you this a couple of times in the Championship review, but who do we see going on to do more this season, Blackpool or Swindon?
Do you know what? It'll probably be a similar sort of finish. I'll probably see mid sort of table, potentially both teams. Like you said, Swindon showed they have the potential to score goals without Owen Doyle, but it will just take a lot for them to finish. I think Blackpool could finish there, and I think they could potentially finish a bit higher, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, I'd back Blackpool to finish higher, but I'm obviously a bit of a biased case. Let's move on to the Memorial Stadium then. A 2-0 win for Ipswich, but they left it very late. Will Paul Lambert be pleased that they've ground out a result like this, or would he have been expecting more from this side?
I think they'll be happy with the result. Obviously, a strong start to the season, 2 wins from 2, top of the league. Obviously, after last season missing out on the playoffs, they'll be looking to bounce back this season. But yeah, obviously, I think the manager will be happy that they've managed to keep pushing and get those goals near the end of the game. The first one obviously being an own goal. They'll be happy that they've then managed to go and solidify the 3 points with their own goal, to get the 3 points. And I think they'll be happy going away and coming away with 3 points.
Yeah, for Bristol Rovers, it's looking like a long season, already on the edge of the relegation zone. What does this season have in store for them? They've lost their top scorer in Johnson Clark-Harris, but it has to be said has carried them over the last few seasons. Does it look like they're going down?
I mean, it's obviously tough to say. I mean, scoring goals is obviously the main issue. Only 2 shots on target as well, only 5 shots. So there's obviously a creativity problem there. But yeah, as you say, losing your top goal scorer that's sort of been carrying you the last few seasons, I know better than anyone that can cause a lot of issues in the league. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they do for the end of the season. But I think it will be a different season. They'll be towards that bottom end of the league.
Go on then. Is this the year that Ipswich will get back up to the Championship?
It's a tough one. I think this year they'll get playoffs, but yeah, there's a lot of teams that are showing a strong start to the season.
Right then, moving on then. Acton Stanley impressed on the opening day. We will win over Peterborough, but bump back down to earth this week. A 2-1 defeat to Burton at the Pirelli. And looking at the stats, they came off firmly second best, didn't they?
Yeah, Accrington, mate. I think, levelling so late on and then conceding a few minutes after, I think probably pretty gut-wrenching for them. But, a team that, only got to League One a couple of years ago, may look to them, maybe cement themselves maybe higher up the table this season. Burton played Championship football a couple of years ago as well. So it's both teams that probably certified in League One. I just think, it's probably just a bit of an unlucky one for Accrington. If they could have gotten an away draw there, that might put them in good stead.
Do you not think they would have robbed Burton a bit, though?
I don't know, to be honest, because even though I think that, arguably Burton quite clearly controlled the game, I think, Accrington probably could have robbed it. Like, they had the chances to obviously have scored late on. So, but I just think it was down to the performance of Burton that they got that late winner. Because, they probably deserved to win the game, but it was could have quite clearly gone to, 1 point apiece.
Yeah, and of course, that late Brayford goal gives Jake Buxton his first win as Burton manager. How important is it that they build on this for their new manager?
Definitely important. Good win. They'll just need. I think it's a perfect start for a new manager to get a win. So if we can push up the table from here and just get a good run of games, then it could be all right.
Yeah, moving on then. After a topsy-turvy summer, Charlton finally got their fans back into the ground for a game, but ended up losing it by 3-1. How disappointed will they be with this result?
Yeah, I think they'll be very disappointed. Obviously, some fans in the ground and at home again, and to already be 3-0 down in the game before they scored is very disappointing for them. I think I said in last week's preview for League One that this could be has potential to be a decent game, and 4 goals in the game shows that it wasn't an exciting game, but obviously more so for Doncaster fans. But yeah, I think it was a fairly even game if you look at the stats, but obviously Doncaster were edging it, going 3-0 up. But yeah, Charlton, like you say, will be disappointed at home to lose 3-1.
Will they be even more disappointed against a side that they're hoping to be close to come the end of the season?
Yeah, I mean, I think Charlton's aim will probably be to be above Doncaster by the end of the season, but obviously you never know how the season's going to pan out. But just it's just where I think their ambitions it'll depend on what happens with the board. But yeah, if they can get a takeover in, get the new owner in, see what they can do, maybe sign some more players in January. Yeah, I'm sure their aim will still be pushing towards the top end of the league.
For Doncaster, can they push on from this? I mean, I know they're promotion outsiders, but they are one of those clubs that are always there or thereabouts in League One.
Yeah, I mean, they've obviously got the ability to, proving going and winning a draw in the first 2 games is a solid start, and I think going away to a team that we're saying is going to be around the playoffs probably, if not definitely top half, and scoring 3 goals obviously shows a lot of confidence that they can play well and score goals against anybody.
Yeah, let's move on to the side above them in the league then, which is your side, Hull. A 1-0 win over Crewe, but left it kind of late. Would you have liked to have seen them make it more comfortable?
Well, yeah, of course, and I think it says 24 fouls for us. I mean, the officials in that game were stupid. I mean, even when they gave us decisions, I was like, that's a stupid decision. I think they gave us they gave one of the Crewe players offside from a throw-in at one stage. It was that sort of officiating. But yeah, I mean, obviously the players we have, you're looking to score goals, and obviously goal difference is big towards the top end of the season by the end of the season. But yeah, I mean, to be fair to Crewe, they played quite well, caused us a few problems. And they probably should have gone 1-0 up, really. Good save from Ingram, but yeah, very good start for us. 2 wins from 2, which just hope it carries on now.
Yeah, another week, another garbage EFL refereeing performance. Were you coming into this one expecting to win?
Yeah, I mean, I come into these games expecting to win the majority of them. Obviously, it's tough every game you play, but I think more times than not, the squad we're going to put out is going to be stronger than the opposition on paper. But we definitely have tendencies to bottle performances. Obviously, Jaskalainen in goal played quite well. He pulled off a few good saves. We probably should have scored a couple more, to be honest. But yeah, I'm liking the way, like the team we've got at the minute. Just hopefully we don't lose anybody from now towards the end of the transfer window.
Did you watch this game? Did you pay for the iFollow stream?
Yeah.
How did Crewe play? How are you expecting them to finish? Where are you expecting them to finish at the end of the season?
They played all right, to be fair. I mean, obviously newly promoted side. I expect them to be down the bottom half of the table. But from what they showed coming to us and how they performed, I think they can definitely stay up. The manager will definitely be happy with how they've come to our place and played. Yeah, I think definitely if against the teams that are around them, I think they can definitely start picking up some points. They just need. I think finishing is just going to be their issue this season.
Yeah, and they've still got time to recruit in the transfer window if they feel the need to. Let's move on then. MK Dons made a good start to the season, but they came up short against Lincoln, who have made a very good start to the season under Michael Appleton. Jack, do you see Lincoln as a challenger for promotion, or do you think they're just enjoying a good start?
It's difficult to say. I obviously know they have a decent. We all know they have a decent side. The Cowley brothers left them in a decent place, but yeah, it's an interesting one. I feel like they could have a playoff push. I don't think they will get in there in the end. I feel like it will die off, but it's obviously been a very good start to the season for them.
Yeah, I mean, looking at it, 32% possession. Is this another side that sat back and played counter-attacking football by the looks of it?
Yeah, I mean, from the stats, it looks that way. I haven't seen the performance. I haven't seen Lincoln play really in a while. But yeah, I can see that that's how they've been playing. Maybe just holding off, countering and scoring. I mean, obviously the finishing is showing good 2 goals after 4 shots on target. I mean, one was obviously a penalty, but yeah, I think they'll be very happy with the way they've been playing and the way they've started the season.
Yeah, for MK Dons, this is the thing I said I was cautious about Reading. It looks like a lot of the ball, but didn't really do much with it. Only 4 shots on target, having had 68% possession. Is this going to be another tough season for them?
I think, yeah, only one point out of the first 2 games. I mean, like we say about a lot of teams, everyone expects to win their home games, and to start off losing your first one isn't obviously ideal, and they would have been looking to change that. I think it could be a difficult season for them if they don't start picking up some wins.
Yeah. Let's move on then. To a game that looked like on paper two of the better teams in the division, especially based on the table from last season. But Sunderland ran out 2-0 winners at the Kassam, which sentences Oxford to being bottom of the table. How big a win is this for Sunderland?
I think that's a huge win, to be honest. They're a team that probably, I think we mentioned last week, it's this season or probably not for a while if they don't go up to get back to the Championship, potentially back to the Premier League where they, have been for so long. Vital win, probably it's a strange one then, on the other hand, for Oxford, a team that were in the playoffs and, tipped to go up to be down rock bottom. So strange times, but, it can definitely alter from here.
For Sunderland, I mean, it's get up at all costs, isn't it? Do you think Phil Parkinson's the right man to do it?
Yeah, I think he's shown you can get teams up in the past. His man management has been questionable at times, but he's definitely, as a man, you've got Bradford promoted to League One. He's got teams promoted before. He's a good manager. He can definitely do a good job there. He might be the man that they've needed, for a while to take them.
Yeah, for Oxford, obviously missing some lone players, but very rarely has a playoff hangover resulted in relegation. Do you think they could be the victims of that?
I think it's a shocking one to think about, but like you said, they had players in on loan last season which they don't now. And Matty Taylor still is, a good player. I really think he is, but it's just the quality's not there. They had some decent players. It could be. It's happened before, mate. So there's no reason why it couldn't.
Yeah. Go on then. A prediction from you both then. Where will Oxford finish this season?
I think they'll stay up, but I'm not sure how far up.
Yeah, I think probably mid-table by the end of the season this year. I can't see a playoff push from what we've seen so far.
Yeah, fair enough. Obviously, a slow start cost Portsmouth last season could well do the same to Oxford this year. Moving on then to London Road, Peterborough 2, Fleetwood 1. Two late goals from Peterborough, both in added time in the second half. But is this the reaction that Darren Ferguson would have wanted, having lost to Accrington on the opening day?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an interesting one. I think he would have been ready to be shouting and screaming at them by the end of the game, but then obviously two goals in the 90th minute, 91st and 95th. I mean, that shows a lot of grit, and that they're showing that they've got the fight to try and push and get up into the playoff spots where they struggled. They obviously missed out from the points per game ratio last year. But yeah, they'll obviously be looking to put that right and try and push up into the playoffs this year.
For Fleetwood, will they be massively disappointed to lead for pretty much all the second half and then lose out to a side that they'll hope to be challenging for promotion come the end of the season?
Yeah, they'll be very disappointed. I think to concede one in the 90th minute is bad enough. They would have been disappointed just to draw that game, but to concede another one, they've just bottled it big style. And I think, yeah, obviously, it's hard to say, but yeah, Fleetwood will be wanting to kick on and try and get into the playoff spots like last year. But obviously, it's tough to if they're going to do this against the teams that'll be around them. It's a struggle to say how they'll do.
Does it show how much they relied on their lone centre-backs last season? Obviously, Lewis Gibson at Everton just signed for Reading. Harry Souttar's gone back to Stoke, and they've kind of failed to replace them. Does it show how much they relied on them last season?
Players like that are very important to them, and they're going to be missing them this year. Yeah, I mean, any loss of players is going to affect you, but yeah, hopefully they'll see how they can do without them, or looking to at least replace them, I'd imagine.
Moving on then, another defeat for Shrewsbury. This time they've lost 2-1 to Northampton, despite nearly having 70% of the ball. I mean, it's a case of another team having all the ball and not doing anything with it, isn't it?
Yeah, but likewise, Northampton got a draw first time out and then obviously getting a win. They're at the right end of the table now for a team that have just come up, so you've got to give them a lot of credit. But likewise, for a team that had all the ball, really, they should have been doing a lot better there for me, Shrewsbury.
Well, the biggest disappointment for them to be getting it back level only to concede 11 minutes later.
Yeah, I do think so, but you've got to be holding on to them leads, especially with all the ball. But is it just going to be a case of Northampton are going to be one of them teams now that they'll take their chances when they get them?
I mean, they need to if they want to stay in the division. This was almost a 6-pointer, wasn't it, in terms of the relegation battle with where Shrewsbury finished last season?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they need points and fast. Otherwise they're going to be right down the bottom with Oxford. Probably.
Yeah, another team, a bit like Bristol Rovers, that could be in for a long season, along with Rochdale. Do you think Keith Curle can keep Northampton up this season?
I'd love to think so. He was a great manager. He obviously got them promoted in the fashion they did last year. I think they could. They're definitely right end of the table so far, sitting in 7th. I think so. If they can stay there, then that's a fantastic season.
Yeah, if they finish where they are now, I think Northampton fans would bite your hand off for that. Let's move on then, on a more dreary note, to Wigan. A horrible summer, a horrible relegation from the Championship. And they've lost again this weekend despite scoring twice. How disappointed will they be with this result?
They'll be hugely disappointed, and I think to have that much of the ball, I mean, obviously the team's been dismantled, but to have that much of the ball and have 2 shots on target, like a few teams we've spoke about, that have not had shots on target, obviously, well, to score the 2 goals of the 2 shots on target, I suppose you could say it's decent finishing, but it's still not good enough defensively. Gillingham, much more improved performance from last week. It's weird to see that they've scored 3 after the way they played against us. I don't know whether that's just them, they've really stepped it up this week, or it's just Wigan not having the players they used to have.
Yeah, I mean, you say they stepped it up, but only 32% possession. So maybe rode their luck a bit. I mean, they got dominated by Hull in the first game, looks like. Again, here by Wigan, even though Wigan were able to less with the ball. For Wigan, would it have been disappointing to have gone ahead and then fallen behind so quickly?
Yeah, I think that'll be a thing that will disappoint the players and the manager the most. I mean, I think after the equaliser went in so quickly, I think that just dismantled their confidence, and to concede another one soon after says a lot. And I think Gillingham really just kicked on from there.
Yeah. Can we see Gillingham breaking top 10 this season?
If they keep putting performances in like that, I mean, maybe, but I think there's definitely teams that are a lot better than them that will be in the top 10 and the top half probably before them. But yeah, it'd be interesting what Steve Evans can do with them. He's obviously can get a team going, and they'll definitely get a few decent wins this year against teams we probably weren't expecting them to.
Yeah, right there. Finally, there was just one game on Sunday, and I'm guessing most people probably didn't clock it even happen because it was a 0-0 draw at Scotland between Rochdale and Portsmouth. Rochdale keeper Gavin Bazunu got man of the match for this game. Does that tell you everything you need to know about this one?
Yeah, probably. I think it was their first point of the season, wasn't it? So, bit of a boring game. And both teams not really where they would want to be. I think we mentioned it, Rochdale have lost a couple of players, but I think it'll give us a few weeks before we realise if it's going to actually fully affect them. On the other hand, Portsmouth, they haven't had an ideal start, but it's not been terrible. They haven't lost, but 2 draws isn't really, going to cut it for them if they want to be back where they were last season. So not a great result either way for either team.
Yeah, I mean, we saw a slow start cost Portsmouth last season. Will it do the same here? Really, they should have taken 3 points from this game, shouldn't they?
Yeah, I think, you look how many shots they had and how many shots they had on target. You'd have at least expected at least one of them to go in just to take all 3 points for them. But it wasn't meant to be, and I think now both teams have got to pull out the bag a bit now, especially with teams at the top performing so well.
Yeah, and luckily for Portsmouth, they're now out of the Carabao Cup as well, so they can focus on their league endeavours. Do we think they'll crack top 6 again this season?
Well, they'd be expected to again. I think they've pretty much got the same squads as they did last season, so you'd expect them to. But they need to get more points. A couple of 3-pointers should do them a bit more justice.
Yeah, right then. On to the league table then. It's Ipswich who lead the way. Paul Lambert will be a very happy man. Just ahead of Lincoln in second by just 1 goal. Jack, Hull are in third, which you'll be pleased to see, but not quite in the automatic promotion places yet. And they're ahead of Doncaster, who move up 8 places into 4th, having picked up 4 points from their opening 2 games. Sunderland 5th, they're up 9. Plymouth in 6th, round out the playoff places ahead of Northampton in 7th. They are the unbeaten side so far. Accrington 8th have slipped this week. They're ahead of Blackpool, Fleetwood, Charlton and Swindon, who round out the top half. Boys, at those clubs that round out the top half, they're almost in opposite mindsets, aren't they? Charlton will be looking towards the top 2 and Swindon will be looking to the gap from the bottom 4, won't they?
Yeah, Charlton will be, like we've said, they'll be looking to push into the playoff spots, and yeah, Swindon will be just trying to stay up. I think this season, obviously, after coming up last year.
Behind Swindon, then, Burton in 13th, Gillingham up 7 into 14th. Peterborough up 8 into 15th, ahead of AFC Wimbledon in 16th, who are the big losers. Portsmouth are in 17th, but only them and Ipswich are yet to concede a goal this season. They're ahead of MK Dons, Shrewsbury and Bristol Rovers, who are the last side that are safe for now by virtue of a point.
Point out that Hull have also not conceded a goal yet.
Haven't they? Oh, Hull haven't conceded.
No.
Sorry, mate. Rochdale also on a point, but in the bottom four. Wigan in 22nd, but do move themselves off the bottom of the table. They jump Crewe and Oxford, who are now bottom of the league. That's it for League One, so we will shuffle down to League Two. First stop in League Two, then, we go to Brunton Park. Another defeat for Southend. 2 goals in 3 minutes for Carlisle in the first half saw them through this one. 1,000 fans in attendance for Carlisle. It's probably a good job none of the Southend fans were in attendance, isn't it?
Yeah, they wouldn't have wanted to see that performance. Again, another team having a lot of the possession, but 1 shot on target, 4 shots overall. It's not good enough. Bottom of the league, -6 goal difference after 2 games. It's not the best start to them, and probably not going to see much of a change.
Yeah, I mean, 23 shots in Carlisle, 7 on target. It looks like they've dominated despite having less possession, apparently. But I can only see them reaching mid-table again this year, can't you?
Yeah, I can't see anything higher, really. I think that's just the standard now. I think, yeah. I don't know if the ambition's any higher either.
Yeah, moving on then. The next one from the JobServe Community Stadium. Colchester 2, Bolton 0. Bolton had 63% possession in this game, but still haven't picked up a win in League Two. And I don't think they've scored yet, have they either? So, a tough run. Oh,
No,
yeah, they didn't score against Forest Green last weekend either.
Saying that, but I do think, against a team like Colchester, who were getting, got the playoffs last year, it was always going to be a tough game for them regardless. So Colchester as well, good win for them. Keep hoping for them to be back up towards the top by the end of the season. But like you said, Bolton having a very poor start.
Yeah, despite having much less of the ball, Colchester more shots, more on target. So might deserve to take away the win, but 3 shots on target and 2 of them went in. So will that be the biggest disappointment for Ian Evatt?
Probably, yeah. But like I said, Colchester are a good side and they've got that quality to be up there. But Bolton have got last year's top scorer in the League Two, so you would have expected at least 1 goal by now. But to have not got off the mark is disappointing and probably quite worrying now going into match day 3.
Yeah, Owen Doyle looking like either a one-season wonder or Bolton aren't really playing to suit him. Be interesting to see how that pans out. Next up, Crawley 1, Scunthorpe 0. Tom Nichols' 15th minute goal. The difference between these sides. I mean, is this the difference between Crawley, who are a mid-table side, and Scunthorpe, who finish in the bottom half?
Yeah, definitely, mate. But Scunthorpe, again, another team having more possession than the other team and losing the game. I'm more shocked, to be fair, but again, just the 1 shot on target. I don't know what's happening with these teams not having shots on target. I don't know where the creativity is in these sides, but yeah, obviously just the 1 point out of the first 2 games. Scunthorpe, yeah, looking like they'll be in a similar position as last year. And Crawley, obviously, first win on the board. They'll be happy about that. See where they can finish towards the end of the season.
Yeah, important for Crawley as well to build that momentum off this result. We're going to move on, though, to a bigger result at St James's Park. Exeter 0, Port Vale 2. Exeter, poor start to the season. If they finally blew it for their only chance to get up to League One.
Well, yeah, and obviously after the amount of chances they've had in the playoff final and still not gone up, you always think that it probably would never happen. And then to have had the start this season that they have done, yeah, it's not looking likely, mate, to be honest. On the other hand, Port Vale are right up there and having the perfect start, so it works both ways. So they could be a team to be reckoned with this season as well.
Yeah, John Askey, a good manager though, got Macclesfield up to League Two before leaving there to come to Port Vale, got them up to challenging the playoffs, and now looking like they're kicking on again. But again, it's another game where Exeter 61% of the ball, and again only 3 shots on target. Like,
it's just poor. It is poor. Like, you've got to be doing better than that, especially when you're controlling the game. With those shots on target, just get it sorted. Like, I don't know if it's striking weaknesses or what it is, but it's not good enough the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean they've still got Ryan Bowman up front, who seemed to have a good season last time out, but maybe he's running out of steam. I don't know. I've not really watched Exeter play, but I definitely think they'll be disappointed to come away from this game with nothing. Especially with this game is with Port Vale, is a team that will be a team they hope to be in and around and come the end of the season, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, Exeter have been the playoff final many a time, and Port Vale know about the PVC. So they're both going to want to be up there. Port Vale have had that start, the perfect start, really, with 2 wins. So they both like to be up there, but realistically, Exeter aren't looking likely at the minute.
Yeah, a team that will be up there for sure in our eyes, we think will be Forest Green. A 96-minute equaliser for them against 9-man Bradford means they come away with a 2-2 draw. How important could this point turn out to be?
It could be very important. I think obviously we've backed Forest Green to have a decent season this year, and I think to show the character to push and get that last minute equaliser, mind you, being against 9 men, obviously it makes things a bit easier when you can throw more men up into the box. Yeah, obviously they would have been disappointed to concede a second to 10 men when Bradford went down, got their first red card, and they would have been probably seen that as an opportunity to push on and win the game. But yeah, I suppose as the game went on, they would have been happy they would have took the point, and although they would have been looking for 3.
Yeah, and of course both players for Bradford that were sent off called O'Connor, which was weird. But this is one of the pilot games. Do you think it could have been the Forest Green fans that got them across the line with that 96-minute equaliser?
Possibly. I mean, obviously we know it's only 1,000 fans, but spread out in not a massive ground could make a big difference. I mean, from the stats, it looks like they were really throwing a lot of shots at Bradford, 24 shots to 7. I mean, only 3 on target, so I feel like a lot may have been from outside the box. So Bradford showing their defensive capabilities, although with both centre backs sent off, it's always going to be an issue. Yeah, I mean, obviously the fans, yeah, I suppose they will have helped them push on and get that equaliser in the end.
Yeah, there was another red card at Blundell Park, but less important this time, coming in the 92nd minute for Grimsby, as they lost 4-0 to Salford. Ian Henderson picking up a hat-trick. Salford got 3 penalties in this game, 3 of their 4 goals coming from the penalty spot. Just looking at this one, it's a weird one. Grimsby more of the ball, more shots. It looked like they pushed Salford, but just let themselves down defensively.
I'm saying it's probably not necessarily what you'd expect from an Ian Holloway team to be so ill-disciplined at the back. That's what's cost them, clearly. Because I fancied if Grimsby were going to be looking to go anywhere near League One, Ian Holloway would have been the man to do it. But with performances like that, it wouldn't be anywhere near likely. So, likewise, on the other hand, Ian Henderson I think he scored last week as well, so he must be about 4 goals in 2 games in his debut season for Salford. So he could be up there with top scorers this year, maybe, because Salford, I imagine, will be looking to push up, maybe go to League One, as well as having decent runs in the league. So that could be a potential, but yeah, not good enough by Grimsby Town.
No, result leaves them in the relegation zone, and Salford just outside the automatic promotion places. Down the road, then at the Keep Moat, of course, Harrogate playing their home games there for now while their pitch is planted. They're still unbeaten in the Football League at the minute, but a 2-2 draw with Walsall having conceded a goal in the 81st minute. Will they be disappointed not to come away with all 3 points?
I think, yeah, you're always going to be disappointed conceding so close to the end of the game. I mean, it's been a very good start to the season in the Football League for Harrogate, and I think they would have bit your hand off if you said they were going to have 4 points from the first 2 games, still unbeaten. I mean, yeah, very good start from what we'd imagine have been a tough season. When it's still, I imagine, will be a tough season for them, and I can't see them staying at this end of the league for that much longer. But yeah, there'll be a lot of confidence for them from the start they've had.
How important is it for them as a newly promoted side to keep this run of form going, to keep the positivity in the dressing room?
A winning mentality is massive, I think, for any team in any league. I mean, if you've got a winning mentality, you feel like you can go into every game to go pick up 3 points. And the best case scenario, obviously, if you can't win, don't lose. And they've done that in that game against Walsall. But obviously, them being ahead, they would have preferred to have held on, and coming from behind, being 1-0 down early on, they could have capitulated and conceded a few more. But yeah, I think in overall they'll be happy with the performance and the result.
Interesting you mentioned that early goal. Will Walsall be disappointed to have gone behind having scored so early on?
Yeah, I think always if you start, if you score early, you want to kick on and score a couple more to solidify your lead in the game, and that sort of, once you've got like a 2-goal cushion, you sort of think you can you've sort of got a bit more of the edge, because as we know, 1-0 is not the best scoreline to have in a game, especially away from home. Harrogate obviously scored 2 in 10 minutes, and that ended up nearly being enough for them. But yeah, Walsall showing the fight to come back and get that equaliser and hold on after the sending off.
Yeah, let's move on then from that one to another 2-2 draw. This time between Leyton Orient and Mansfield at Brisbane Road. But Leyton Orient came from 2-0 down to score 2 goals in the 82nd and 92nd minute. Does this show they've turned a corner this season?
Yeah, like mentioned last week, I'd love to see them do well and potentially get promoted on the back of what Justin Edinburgh built there. But now it's obviously a bit of a strange one with how many COVID positive cases they've had, which could affect them now for a little while. But yeah, I think in terms of the game, a draw, probably having been 2-0 down for most of the game, yeah, probably a good result towards the end.
Yeah, for Mansfield, will you be hugely disappointed from this, or would you take a point? Because Leyton Orient isn't the easiest place to go in the league.
Oh no, absolutely. Like Mansfield haven't lost either this season yet. I think they've had 2 draws. So, they're a team that were in the playoffs a couple of years ago and had a couple of good players here and there. I think they've got fairly rich owners that can pump a bit of money into the club. So they're a team that could challenge, playoff places or even automatic, by the end. But still, if they can get a few wins rather than draws now, then they might have a better chance of doing that now.
Yeah, and of course, Leyton Orient statement coming out saying the majority of their squad have tested positive for COVID-19. So we wish them a speedy recovery and hope everything is okay there. It'll be interesting to see whether they fulfill their fixture next weekend. Let's move on, though, to the Globe Arena. An absolute thrashing for Morecambe, 5-0 at home to Cambridge. And Wes Houlihan in amongst the goals as well. There's a name for you. Cambridge, a magic start to the season. Played 2-1-2, haven't conceded. A goal difference of +8 already. Are they a dark horse for promotion?
I mean, it's a very strong start after 2 games. I mean, scoring 5 away at any team is impressive, but I think they just dominated the whole game. Morecambe only 1 shot on target, less possession, only 7 shots. They didn't look like they had a sniff really. obviously, like you said, Wes Houlihan scoring, that's a bit of experience getting them off to a good start. But yeah, 3-0 up at half time. I think the game was done, obviously, then. When Markham hasn't really shown, they didn't show any fight in the second half to try and turn the game around as it should.
Yeah, Mark Bonner will definitely be happy. For Morecambe, is this back to reality for them? Back to scrapping away for their lives in the division?
Well, it's tough to say. Obviously, Cambridge might have a very good season, but Markham obviously got the win in the first game. They obviously would want it to have built on that, but it wanted to be in that game at home. But interesting to say. I mean, if they perform like they did then, it's not going to end a good season for them. But yeah, I'm sure they'll still look to play how they did and get a few more wins towards the end of the season and see where they end up. Yeah, hard to say still. Obviously, like we say, after 2 games.
If you're a Cambridge fan, what would you want from this position?
I mean, you just want to kick on, keep the momentum going. Only one of 2 teams that have maximum points. You just want to try and see how far you can go. Obviously, keep winning, and they'll be thinking they can get. Well, at this rate, they'll be looking at promotion. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they can keep it up or not.
Moving on to Rodney Parade then. A win for Newport 2-1 over Barrow, their first defeat in the Football League since returning from promotion. All in all, Newport deserved to win. Looking at the stats, more of the ball, more shots on target. What do we expect from Newport this year? It looks like they're going on another cup run again.
Yeah, no, I was just about to say that. You know, they've had a few good wins in the League Cup and obviously beat Watford last night. So, you know, another great win there. They're looking like they're going to be a goal-scoring team again, which it's been a while since they've done that. You know, they've got Tristan Abrahams up front, who's scored a lot of goals in the cup, and there's a few good players. You know, they've got Brandon Cooper on them from Swansea, who's a good young player. Needs a few games, but looks good and starting there. So they got a good squad together again. And I think if they can get that goal-scorer mentality, they could be quite easily towards the top.
Yeah, for Barrow, looking like Newport are a side of quality again this year. Do they read much into this, or do they just pick themselves back up and go again?
Yeah, I think pick themselves back up. Definitely. I think, you know, if you look at the table as well, Barrow, it's still a long way to go for Barrow. You know, they've got a point first match day. You know, next week they just need to probably get a win, just get the ball rolling and see how far they can go. Obviously, I think the main priority would be to try to stay in the Football League, but it'd be a tough ask. So if they can start getting some 3 points on the board, then that'd be very good for them.
Yeah, currently ahead of some pretty big clubs: Scunthorpe, Exeter, Tranmere, and Bolton, and Southend, who find themselves bottom. But Southend fans are used to that feeling. Next game at the Lamex Stadium. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Lamex Stadium. Anyway, a 3-0 win for Stevenage. The first time in a long time they've won by such a margin, and they're in the top 5. Quite a comeback for them after last season, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a strange one. Obviously, it looks like they put in a very good performance. I mean, it's really strange, obviously, after the turmoil they had last season, and obviously staying up just by luck this year. Yeah, it looks like a decent start to the season. Obviously, unbeaten, a win and a draw, and it's a very good win. Obviously, dominated them. Shots on target. Only let Oldham have 1 shot on target. So the defence obviously doing the jobs. I mean, yeah, it's a really strange one.
Yeah, I mean, 2 goals in 4 minutes to open their account, 61 and 65, and a goal late on. So obviously hit a rich run of form in the second half. For Oldham, I mean, they're now just 1 place above the drop zone. I know it's early days, but for a former Premier League side, they've really dropped off a cliff since coming into League Two, because they didn't do very well last season either. Are we worried that they could end up in the National League?
It's always a possibility, man. I mean, anything can happen in these leagues, but I think we don't expect some of these teams to be down here in these places. And Oldham, we don't know whether that's the same or not. Obviously, like we say, it's still difficult to say 2 games in how they're going to do. But obviously, they would have looked how Stevenage did last year, and they would have been very disappointed with that performance. But I suppose everyone has their off day, and that could be theirs. They could push on from here maybe and see where they end up. But from that, if they keep performing like that, it's unlikely.
Yeah, Harry Kewell still looking for his first point as Oldham manager. Finally, then for League Two, to Prenton Park. Tranmere unlucky to go down from League One, but found it tough coming back to League Two and find themselves on a 3-0 defeat to Cheltenham. If you're Tranmere fans, what are you thinking right now? Because you feel hard done by to be not be in League One this season, but they haven't really proved that they deserve to be there with their start, have they?
No, obviously dropping straight back down after being promoted a couple of years ago wasn't ideal, was it? And it hasn't exactly been the best of starts this season either. So, being, towards relegation places isn't great for a team that want to be back up to League One. So, and I thought they had made a couple of signs that could help them do that, but they obviously haven't performed well enough to push up the table just yet.
Yeah, for Cheltenham, obviously playoff semi-finalists. We said in our review last weekend that they're quite a small club for League Two, and maybe it was back to normality for them. But this is a big way to bounce back for them, isn't it?
Oh yeah, no. Again, a team that were in the playoffs last year, a team that probably bottled the playoffs actually. On that second leg defeat to Northampton. So, a team that would want to be there and probably, what's the word I'm looking for? Just perform better and just redo the whole thing again and just try and get it to League One.
Keep improving.
Yeah,
basically. Is that the word you're looking for? Yeah.
No, not really. There's a word I'm trying to think. For obviously, they've lost last year in the way they did, but then to obviously right their wrongs. But there's a word for it, and I can't think what it is. But
redemption.
Me.
Yeah. What do we expect from Cheltenham this season? Where are you expecting them to finish?
Well, I'd expect them to finish up there again. They've basically got the same side as well. So I think I'd be shocked if they win. But, a win like this against a team who've just been in League One is a good result.
Yeah, definitely. Right, looking at the table then, as already mentioned, Cambridge lead the way. A mighty impressive start. Play 2-1-2 plus 8 goal difference, yet to concede a goal, along with Colchester and Port Vale in this division. Port Vale in second on goal difference. Harrogate third in the automatic promotion places. It will be interesting to see how long that one lasts. They're ahead of Salford, Stevenage, Colchester and Forest Green, who make up the playoff places. Leyton Orient, Newport and Walsall round out the top 10, ahead of Cheltenham and Carlisle, who are currently in the top half. The bottom half is Crawley, Morecambe, Bradford and Mansfield, ahead of Barrow, Scunthorpe, Exeter and Tranmere, who are currently the last side to pick up a point. They're ahead of Bolton and Oldham, who are currently safe on goal difference, ahead of Grimsby, who have played 2, lost 2, -5 goal difference, and Southend, who are bottom, play 2, lost 2, -6 goal difference. Could very well be a long season for Southend. Boys, that is it for our weekend review. Thank you very much for joining me.
No problem.
We will be back to look ahead to this weekend's fixtures in a couple of days' time. But other than that, thank you very much for listening, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.